It was a crisp autumn morning in New York City, and the studio lights of The View buzzed with anticipation. The audience, a mix of excited fans and curious onlookers, settled into their seats, whispering about the day's guest, Tom Hardy, the brooding British actor known for his intense roles in films like Venom and The Revenant. He was there to promote his latest project, a gritty thriller called Shadows of the Past, where he played a tormented veteran grappling with PTSD and redemption. Little did anyone know, this interview would spiral into one of the most explosive moments in daytime TV history. What started as a routine promo chat would expose raw nerves, challenge boundaries, and leave viewers questioning where entertainment ends and cruelty begins. But hold on, what if the real drama wasn't on screen, but in the unspoken truths Hardy carried with him? Stick around, because what happened next would shock the world. As the theme music swelled, Whoopi Goldberg, the sharp-witted moderator with a reputation for no-holds-barred commentary, led the panel. Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, and Ana Navarro. The women chatted animatedly about current events, their laughter echoing through the studio. Then, the announcer's voice boomed. "Please welcome Tom Hardy!" The audience erupted in applause as Hardy strode onto the set, his trademark leather jacket slung over a simple black tee, exuding that effortless charisma mixed with a hint of guarded intensity. He flashed a warm smile, hugging each co-host before settling into the guest chair next to Whoopi. "Thanks for having me," Hardy said in his gravelly British accent, leaning back comfortably. "It's great to be here promoting Shadows of the Past. It's a film about resilience, about facing your demons head-on." The audience nodded approvingly, and Sarah Haynes jumped in with a light question. "Tom, your character deals with so much trauma. How do you prepare for roles like that?" Hardy chuckled softly, a humanizing moment that drew smiles from the panel. "Well, Sarah, it's about drawing from life, innit? I've had my own battles, but therapy and support help. It's not all method acting madness." The conversation flowed smoothly at first, with Whoopi praising Hardy's versatility. "You've gone from Bane to this vulnerable vet, it's impressive," she said, her tone friendly. But then, as the segment hit its stride, Whoopi leaned forward, her eyes narrowing with that signature mix of curiosity and edge. "Tom, your films often glorify violence and tough guy personas. In a world full of real trauma, like what we're seeing with mental health crises, do you ever worry you're just romanticizing pain for profit?" The question landed like a subtle jab, and the audience murmured softly. Hardy paused, his jaw tightening ever so slightly, but he responded diplomatically. "That's a fair point, Whoopi. But art reflects life, doesn't it? My goal is to humanize those struggles, not glorify them." What viewers didn't know yet was that this was just the spark. Whoopi, sensing a ratings goldmine, pressed on. But imagine if Hardy revealed something personal right then, something that could flip the script entirely? Don't go anywhere. The tension is about to ignite in ways no one saw coming. As the commercial break loomed, the studio air thickened. Whoopi's next words would cross a line, but what hidden pain from Hardy's past was she about to unearth? Keep watching to find out. The segment resumed after a quick ad, and the energy in the room had shifted subtly. Sunny Hostin tried to steer things lighter. "Tom, tell us about working with your co-stars. Any fun behind-the-scenes stories?" Hardy grinned, sharing a humorous anecdote about a botched stunt that left him covered in mud, eliciting laughs from the audience and panel alike. "It was chaos, but that's the fun part, keeps you grounded," he said, his eyes twinkling. Ana Navarro nodded enthusiastically, adding, "We need more of that humanity in Hollywood." It was a brief, warm moment, humanizing Hardy amid the growing undercurrent of unease. But Whoopi wasn't done. With a sly smile, she circled back. "Speaking of humanity, Tom, you've been open about your past struggles with addiction and mental health. Commendable, really. But in Shadows, your character overcomes it all so neatly. Isn't that a bit hypocritical? Real people don't just tough it out like in your movies. Are you selling a fantasy while ignoring the messiness?" The audience gasped audibly, a wave of shock rippling through the rows. Sarah Haynes shifted uncomfortably in her seat, exchanging a quick glance with Joy Behar, who mouthed something inaudible. Hardy's smile faded, his hands clenching subtly on his knees, a nonverbal signal of rising tension. The studio fell into a hush, broken only by the faint hum of cameras panning for reactions. "I appreciate the question, Whoopi," Hardy replied, his voice steady but laced with an edge. "But my experiences aren't for dissection on TV. I've fought hard to rebuild, and roles like this honor that journey, not mock it." The audience stirred, some nodding in support, others whispering in surprise. Producers in the control booth exchanged panicked looks, one gesturing wildly to cut to commercial. But Whoopi, ever the provocateur, doubled down. "Come on, Tom, we're all about real talk here. If you're promoting resilience, why not share more? Or is it just PR?" Viewers at home, what would you do in Hardy's shoes? Drop a comment below. Would you stay calm or call it out? And if you're loving this drama, hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss the explosive parts ahead. Just as Hardy seemed poised to respond, an unexpected twist from his past surfaced in Whoopi's follow-up. But could this push him over the edge? The studio was about to erupt. Stay tuned. As the exchange heated up, Joy Behar attempted to intervene with a touch of her trademark sarcasm. "Whoopi, maybe he's up? Tom's here to talk movies, not therapy sessions." The audience chuckled nervously, a small humorous breather amid the drama, but it did little to diffuse the bomb. Hardy leaned forward, his intense gaze locking onto Whoopi's. "Look, I've shared what I'm comfortable with. Addiction isn't a punchline or a plot device, it's real life for millions. If my films inspire even one person to seek help, that's worth it." His words hung in the air, drawing scattered applause from the crowd. Sonny Hostin nodded vigorously, murmuring, "Well said," but Whoopi waved it off with a laugh that felt forced. "I'm not mocking, Tom. Just challenging the narrative. Hollywood loves a redemption arc, but is yours authentic?" The nonverbal cues amplified the tension. Hardy's shoulders tensed, his fingers tapping rhythmically on the armrest, a subtle sign of his effort to maintain composure. The audience leaned in, phones discreetly recording, sensing viral gold. Operators zoomed in on faces, capturing every micro-expression. Backstage, producers paced, one whispering into a headset, "This is getting out of hand, prep security just in case." But here's the riddle that kept everyone guessing: what if Whoopi's challenge was rooted in her own unspoken bias? A small, unexpected detail about her past interviews with similar stars was about to surface, flipping the power dynamic. Don't blink, you won't believe the turn this takes next. With the clock ticking toward the next break, Hardy's patience cracked just a fraction. What shocking revelation would he drop that silences the panel? The answer might change everything. The discussion pressed on, with Sarah Haynes trying to pivot. "Tom, let's talk about the film's message of hope. How does it tie into your advocacy work?" It was a valiant effort to humanize the moment, and Hardy seized it, his voice softening. "Exactly, Sarah. Hope comes from vulnerability, from admitting you're not invincible. That's what Shadows is about, not glamour, but grit." The audience responded with warm applause, a brief uplift that reminded everyone of Hardy's relatable side. Even Whoopi seemed to pause, but only for a beat. Then, the escalation hit a new level. Whoopi, undeterred, pulled out a printed quote from an old interview. "You once said addiction was a beast you tame alone. But experts say community is key. So, are you misleading fans with your lone wolf persona?" The studio fell deathly silent, the shock palpable. Joy Behar's eyes widened, and Ana Navarro fidgeted, clearly uncomfortable. Hardy's face hardened, a tremor in his voice betraying the emotional toll. "That's taken out of context, Whoopi. I never claimed to do it alone. Family, friends, professionals saved me. This isn't journalism, it's ambush." The audience erupted in a mix of gasps and murmurs, divided sympathies creating an electric buzz. One woman in the front row wiped away a tear, moved by Hardy's raw honesty. Producers signaled frantically from offstage, but the live feed rolled on. What if this wasn't just a question, but a deliberate provocation tied to Whoopi's own history with public scrutiny? The layers were peeling back, and the real conflict was just beginning. Hey viewers, pause for a second. Have you ever faced a public judgment like this? Share in the comments how you'd handle it. And if this story has you hooked, subscribe now. We're only getting started, with more twists every 5 minutes. As tensions boiled, Hardy stood up slowly, his next words poised to shatter the set. But what personal bombshell was he about to reveal that leaves Whoopi speechless? You have to see this. The studio lights of The View burned hotter as the tension between Tom Hardy and Whoopi Goldberg reached a fever pitch. The audience sat frozen, their phones still discreetly recording, capturing every second of what was shaping up to be a television moment for the ages. Hardy, standing now, towered over the set, his leather jacket creased from gripping the armrests, his eyes blazing with a mix of anger and resolve. Whoopi, unfazed on the surface but with a slight tremor in her hands, clutched the old interview quote she'd weaponized. The other co-hosts, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, and Ana Navarro, exchanged uneasy glances, their attempts to lighten the mood now futile. The air crackled with anticipation, and backstage, producers whispered frantically into headsets, torn between cutting to commercial and letting the drama unfold for ratings. But what secret was Hardy about to unleash that could flip this confrontation upside down? Stay locked in, this is about to get raw. Hardy took a deep breath, his voice low but commanding, cutting through the studio's eerie silence. Whoopi, you want to talk authenticity? Let's do it. You're digging into my past, but what about yours? I read up before coming here, your interviews with other actors, like when you grilled Robert Downey Jr. about his addiction. Same playbook, right? Push buttons, get a reaction, boost the numbers. The audience gasped, a collective jolt rippling through the rows. Whoopi's eyes widened, caught off guard, her usual quick wit momentarily stilled. Joy Behar let out a nervous chuckle, muttering, "Oh boy, this just got real," while Sarah Haynes sank deeper into her chair, clearly wishing to disappear. The revelation landed like a grenade. Hardy wasn't just defending himself, he was turning the tables, exposing Whoopi's pattern of provocative interviews. The control booth erupted in chaos, with one producer hissing, "Get security on standby," as cameras swiveled to capture Whoopi's reaction. She leaned back, crossing her arms, her smile tight. "Tom, this isn't about me. It's about your message to fans. If you're gonna preach resilience, own it fully." But her deflection didn't land. Hardy shook his head, his voice steady but laced with pain. "I own it every day. Every day I choose to show up, to work, to be better. But you're using my pain for clicks. That's not truth, that's theater." The audience split in real time. Some clapped in support of Hardy's raw honesty, others murmured in defense of Whoopi's tough love style. A man in the back row whispered to his neighbor, "He's got a point," while a woman nearby shook her head, muttering, "She's just doing her job." The division fueled the drama, and social media was already lighting up, with clips of Hardy's clapback going viral. But here's the twist: what if Whoopi had a personal reason for pushing so hard, a hidden regret tied to her own past? The next move would shock everyone. Just as Hardy seemed to gain the upper hand, Whoopi's response hinted at a deeper, personal stake. What was she hiding that could change how we see this fight? "Don't move, this is about to explode." Sunny Hostin tried to steer the ship back to calmer waters. "Tom, let's talk about the film's impact. You've said it's inspired rail veterans to seek help. That's powerful." Her voice was earnest, a lifeline to defuse the escalating war. Hardy nodded, softening slightly, his human side peeking through. "Yeah, Sunny, that's why I do this. I got letters from vets saying the film gave them hope, made them feel seen. That's bigger than any box office." The audience applauded warmly, a fleeting moment of unity that reminded everyone of Hardy's heart. Even Ana Navarro chimed in. "That's beautiful, Tom. We need more of that." For a second, it felt like the storm might pass. But Whoopi wasn't letting go. She leaned forward, her tone sharper now, almost personal. "That's noble, Tom, but let's not kid ourselves. You're a star cashing big checks while real veterans struggle. Isn't there a disconnect there?" The accusation stung, and the studio fell into a stunned hush, broken only by the faint click of a camera lens adjusting. Hardy's face flushed, his hands balling into fists, a clear sign his patience was fraying. Whoopi, that's low. I've donated to veteran charities, worked with therapists to get the role right. You want to talk disconnect? How about using your platform to tear people down instead of lifting them up? The nonverbal cues were electric. Hardy's jaw clenched, his eyes burning with a mix of hurt and defiance. Whoopi's fingers tapped rapidly on her note cards, betraying her composure. Joy Behar, sensing disaster, jumped in with a quip. Okay, let's not start a cage match here. The audience laughed nervously, a brief humorous breather, but it couldn't mask the raw emotion. Backstage, a producer whispered, "This is going viral, but we're walking a tightrope." The cameras caught every detail, the sweat on Hardy's brow, the unease in Sarah's eyes, the audience's divided reactions. But what if Hardy was holding back one final bombshell, something so personal it could silence the entire panel? Hey viewers, what's your take? Is Whoopi crossing a line, or is Hardy too defensive? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're gripped by this showdown, hit that subscribe button now. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming in the next 5 minutes. Hardy stood taller, his voice trembling with emotion. Was he about to walk off the set, or drop a truth so raw it would leave the studio speechless? Keep watching, the climax is seconds away. The tension hit its breaking point as Hardy rose fully from his chair, his presence commanding the room. The audience held its breath, sensing the moment of no return. "I came here to talk about a film that means something," he said, his voice steady but thick with emotion. "But this is a circus. You want to know what resilience looks like, Whoopi? It's me, standing here, not hiding my past, not running from it. I've been to hell and back, and I'm still here. But I don't owe you my scars for your ratings." His words cut through the studio like a blade, raw and unfiltered. The audience erupted in applause, some standing, moved by his vulnerability and strength. Sonny Hostin nodded solemnly, whispering, "Amen," while Ana Navarro clapped softly. Whoopi, for the first time, looked rattled, her usual confidence shaken. She opened her mouth to respond, but Hardy wasn't done. "And let's be real, your show thrives on this drama. You've done it to others and now me. But I'm not your punching bag." He turned to the audience, his eyes softening. "If my work helps one person out there feel less alone, that's enough. You don't need to tear someone down to build someone up." The crowd roared, some in tears, others cheering. Producers scrambled, one shouting into a headset, "He's stealing the show!" as cameras zoomed in on Whoopi's stunned expression. But here's the riddle. Was Hardy's speech the end, or was there one final twist that could redefine this entire clash? Something about Whoopi's own past was about to surface, threatening to shift the narrative entirely. As Hardy turned toward the exit, a single sentence from Whoopi stopped him cold. What did she say that could make or break this moment? You won't believe what's next, stay tuned. The studio was a pressure cooker, every eye glued to Hardy as he paused at the edge of the set, one foot poised to leave. Whoopi, regaining her composure, leaned forward, her voice softer now, almost confessional. "Tom, I push because I've been there too, scrutiny, judgment, the whole mess. I'm not your enemy." The admission hung in the air, a surprising moment of vulnerability from the veteran host. The audience murmured, caught off guard by her shift. Was this a genuine olive branch, or a last-ditch effort to save face? Hardy turned slowly, his expression unreadable, weighing her words. The co-host seized the chance to intervene. Sarah Haynes said, "Let's take a breath. Tom, your passion is inspiring, and Whoopi, we know you're about real talk." Joy Behar added, "Yeah, let's not burn the studio down," eliciting a few laughs, a humanizing pause that eased the tension. But Hardy wasn't swayed. "I hear you, Whoopi, but there's a line between real talk and exploitation. You crossed it." With that, he walked off the set, his boots echoing on the studio floor. The audience gasped, some cheering, others stunned, as the cameras followed his exit. Producers threw their hands up, and the live feed cut to an abrupt commercial. What just happened? Was Hardy's walkout a stand for dignity, or did Whoopi's confession deserve a response? Share your thoughts in the comments. Whose side are you on? And don't miss the fallout. Subscribe now for the final part of this unforgettable clash. As the dust settled, a viral clip of Hardy's exit exploded online, but a hidden detail about Whoopi's past emerged that could change everything. What was it, and how will it reshape their legacies? The epilogue is coming, don't go anywhere.